What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Tony D2 Wild checking in once again, back with a video today, guys. And as you could probably see with the title, what we are talking about today, there was a very unfortunate event that went down in Winder, Georgia. And if you guys know me, you guys, or maybe some of you guys do know that I am in Atlanta, and Winder's about an hour out. This happened down at Appalachee High School in Winder. And there was a shooter, a 14-year-old shooter who fatally shot 4 people, 2 students and 2 teachers. And it has been news pretty much all over on the big media channels as well as the small media channels. And, you know, and from like this off the top of my dome right now, like I can't think of the last type of school shooting in Georgia. I mean, of course, there's been a lot throughout the states, but I can't remember the last time I can't remember the last time seeing something like this happening in Georgia. In Georgia being one of the most very free states, the laws are fairly loose when it comes to acquiring guns, having guns, what type of guns you can own, what type of firearms, magazine capacity, NFA items, all of that. We're pretty open, and with that type of leniency, I always thought that, you know, like, look, even in states like us, you know, where all that is wide open, we don't really run into issues like this. But unfortunately, today it did happen. Now, I'm not blaming the laws for that whatsoever, because at the end of the day, the kid acquired that gun not through any sort of legal process, with the fact that he was 14 years old. So how he got that is yet to be known from right now, potentially from his parents, or that part we'll just have to wait and see. But I wanted to talk a little bit about it. And what we got right here, boom. So a 14-year-old student opened fire at a Georgia high school and killed 4 people on Wednesday, authorities said, sending students scrambling for shelter in their classrooms and eventually to the football stadium. As officers swarmed the campus and parents raced to find out if the children were safe. The dead were identified as 2 students and 2 teachers at Appalachee. I think I said Appalachia, but Appalachee High School in Winder, about an hour drive from Atlanta. At least 9 other people were taken to hospitals with injuries. The words hard lockdown appeared on screen in the junior Layla Farrell's health class, and lights began flashing. She and her frightened classmates piled desks and chairs in front of the door to create a barricade, she recalled. Now, it's a lot about this that goes into that, but the shooter was captured alive. Apparently when the police showed up, he pretty much surrendered. And there's not really yet much information on what the motive was, and if there was, you know, was there a group, like a motive, if they were targeted, and also like if it has anything to do with some sort of belief system or anything of that. Not saying like religious, but like just what was the motivation behind this? Was the student bullied and he went out there and tried to kill people that bullied him, or was there something that he saw on the internet? Like, that part is still to be unseen. Salutes to Mr. Guns and Gear. He posted this video as well that I kind of wanted to show, and then I'll dive in a little bit more as well, because I have a weird thought process now, I think. Let's get it started. Hold on, my bad.
The events that have taken place here today, and what we know up to this point with the investigation. At approximately 10:20 a.m. this morning, Barrow County Sheriff's Office received alerts about reports of an active shooter and radio traffic from school resource officers concerning the same concern, or having the same concern. Within minutes, law enforcement was on scene, as well as 2 school resource officers assigned here to the school, who immediately encountered the subject within just minutes of this report going out. Once they encountered the subject immediately surrendered to these officers, and he was taken into custody.
That's crazy.
Additionally, what I want you to know as of now, there are 4 individuals who are deceased from this incident, 9 that have been taken to local hospitals with
rest in peace
injuries. Of those that are deceased, 2 were students and 2 were teachers here at the school. The priority right now for us within this investigation is to gather all the facts, to make sure that we're accurate with it, because this is a murder investigation. As the sheriff mentioned earlier this morning, the shooter is in custody. His name is Colt, that's C-O-L-T, Gray. He is a 14-year-old student here at the school, G-R-A-Y. He is a 14-year-old student here at the high school. Again, he has been taken into custody. He is
charged as an adult
with murder, and he will be tried as an adult.
And there you go. There you go. Tried as an adult. So let me tell y'all a little bit something about me to some new people here. I grew up in a Democratic home. I've never voted as a Republican. Never. As I gotten older, I've leaned more to being independent. You feel me? I don't try to get too much into politics because it's never, in this day and age that we're currently in, like, it's just people will crucify you based upon that. Not about the character you actually are, but my point is like, as I've gotten older, I've kind of been in the middle on both sides. When it comes to guns, when it comes to 2A, I'm totally on the side of 2A, you know, and I've grown to appreciate that more and more as I've lived in the state of Georgia, doing the content and seeing guns for what they are. I don't look at them. They are weapons of defense, you know, they are the weapons of war and that as well. But I also see them as, you know, sports, like a sporting thing. And I feel like it's not like the most cliche saying though, is that not guns don't kill people. It's the people. People kill people. You know, crazy people kill people with guns, unless of course self-defense or, you know, military. But I say that because if you would have asked me maybe a couple years back, like something that Guns and Gear said, that he just said this right now and it clicked. It made me want to make this video. But it also, another thing along with it that was right underneath it, I'm like, I don't know if I'm just getting older. I don't know what it is, but like my mind frame on things have started to change because I see myself as a very responsible gun owner. And I would want, I know there's a lot of responsible gun owners out there, and I feel like we need more of that. And in order to do that, we need to teach people more, you know, train people more to be that, so that then we could fight this type of weird stuff, like this crazy stuff like that we see going on right here at Appalachee. And what that is, he says, if we want to stop this type of violence in the future, the first step is eliminating gun-free zones. Now, to someone that's just totally against guns, they're thinking like, what? You mean it's allowing guns in schools and all that? But I think, you know, what they're not paying attention is the guy that went in there, the kid that went in there and killed everybody, he didn't care about that law. He didn't care about the gun-free zone. You know, it kind of, this situation reminds me of what could happen if we eliminate or ban guns, ban assault weapons and all that. If we ban these things from the US where you can't own an assault rifle, what's going to stop the crazy person to come in and come kill everybody or kill people in the grocery store and all that? Because now you don't have access to these things that you banned. You're the normal citizen. He's not. He's breaking the law. So what's like the same way these kids, and I'm not saying that kids should be armed, but right underneath there it says armed teachers. I would have been totally against this maybe a couple years back. And I still have my seesaw belief, because I would think like, okay, we arm teachers. I would think that teachers will protect students. But then I also think, okay, what if we get a teacher that's kind of cuckoo, crazy? Or what if the teacher, you know, we see, don't get me wrong, and this is for y'all to make your own assumptions or comments down below, but what happens if a student slaps a teacher in the class? We've seen these videos where kids are beating on teachers and doing all sorts of stuff, right? What happens if that happens and then the teacher goes in and grabs the gun and shoots the student? What happens if something between the teacher and student happens and then the student goes and grabs the gun that the teacher has and shoots the teacher? Like, is putting a gun in the classroom too much of a risk? There's definitely pros and cons. There's definitely that, and that's the part that we would have to figure out. I mean, of course, there could be a system where it's a lock and all this and that, but even then, like, in a situation? Is it enough time for the teacher to get to that, to then protect? Or is it even a teacher's job to protect students? Like, that's not something written like as a role, like protect them with their life. It is their job to teach students, but is doing that almost like a security guard of some sort, putting too much liability on a student, on a teacher, where you need to now pay them a significant amount of more money that their job is to protect and have a gun and shoot back and have the kids behind them. Like those are things that I think it'd be a both of the sides thing that would have to be figured out. But back to the gun-free zone part, like, I know when you hear that, eliminating, gun-free zone from a school, you're like, what? That means that a parent can come walk in, to a school and get their child and have a gun on their hip out? Like, that sounds crazy. I do think, like, I can see where someone would say that, but what happens if you have that person there to come? Like, what happens when a person does come in there and you got other adults in the schools that have guns on them, that are legally able to have guns? Now you have a proper defense to some situation like this. And the reason why is, like Mr. Guns and Gear says, like, soon as the cops arrived, the guy just surrendered. So soon as there was a force that was able to return on this student, he gave up. So it's like, yeah, to some people, they're not going to understand. But when you really look at it, not from guns bad, but look at it from guns good, you then start understanding it more. And I think as I gotten older, had my hands on guns legally, went through legal processes, done the legal things, done the right things, been responsible, I've started to trust that and know that when done properly and you are dealing with people that are law-abiding citizens, like, guns do help situations, like, especially like this. Unfortunately, not everybody sees it that way, and it's the way the overall thought of guns is just negative, bad. But I'm a law-abiding citizen that has a gun permit, follows the gun laws, does all that. I should be able then to protect myself and not now have to give that stuff away and then allow the person that don't give a damn about these laws come in and put me in harm's way now, and I'm just like out there sitting there. So the same situation that happened with these kids, and rest in peace to the teacher and the kids, is the same situation from a bigger scale of what's going on. If we ban all these type of self-defense weapons, if we make the United States a gun-free zone, what's stopping that shooter from coming in and doing something like that? So then all these kids, they don't have, they're harmless. We're the kids again. We're the kids at some point, without, and I'm not saying, because I got to make sure I watch what I say, because I know how the internet is. I'm not saying kids should be armed in schools, but I'm saying, though, like, I see the correlation, kind of. I do think, though, it has to be something that's thought out properly, but there has to be some sort of defense to this at this point. The cop that's on campus, he can't make it from one side of the building to the other. If it's a school shooting, like, we can't just rely on him. And sometimes you can't rely on the cops. You got to act now. So maybe then even more police officers need to be, maybe they need to hire more police officers on campuses to, like, depending on the school, and have them set up. But this is something I was thinking about, and I was like, you know what, let's put on, let's talk about it on Two Wild Guns. And if you guys like this type of stuff, we'll continue doing more, because I definitely wanted to do more discussions on gun legislation and all that. So if you like this, comment down below, let me know, and yeah, I'd love to hear more. I love y'all. I'm out. Peace.